It was back in the 96th year. It was winter, the nights were very long and cold. It was just one of these that everything started. I woke up from the barking of my dog. The Lord was standing near the bathroom door, growling and scratching her. The time was very late. The dog, of course, was punished for this, but they did not attach any importance to what happened. The Lord was very smart. He stopped making noise at night, but categorically refused to go to his room for the night and always lay on the rug next to the bathroom. When I went out to the kitchen at night or in need, I was always surprised that the dog was not sleeping and just looking at that door, until one day I heard some scratching. At first I thought it was my imagination, but it lasted for quite a long time, and I couldn't fall asleep because of it. I woke up my parents. They reluctantly listened to these sounds. It didn't seem to me. Everyone heard the scratching. At first they thought it was a dog, but when they went out into the hallway, he just lay there and looked at the door. The sounds came from the basement just under our bathroom, but soon subsided. For about a week, nothing like this happened again. Everything seemed to have subsided and forgotten, but one morning at breakfast, my father complained that he woke up from the fact that the ventilation grid had fallen in the bathroom, and Lord wildly began barking and throwing himself at the door. The father tried to calm the dog down, but nothing worked. Then he turned on the light in the bathroom and tried to open the latch on the door, which sometimes jammed. When he went inside, he found no one, only a net lying on the floor. He went for a chair and put it back in place, but strange noises in the ventilation alarmed him greatly, and he could not sleep for the rest of the night. The story was shared with friends. Everyone assumed that these were simple rats, advised to get a cat. However, we did so. I picked up a big strong cat on the street. I was afraid that the Lord would throw at him, but they got along well together. The cat was left in the bathroom at night, and on the second morning they found him sleeping and happy. There were the remains of a small rat caught nearby. Everyone calmed down. Life returned to its normal course. A couple of weeks passed. I was returning home when it was already dark. Our apartment was on the ground floor. There were two entrances to the entrance from both sides of the house, but one of them was constantly locked, and quite a lot of garbage accumulated around it along with discarded furniture. As luck would have it, the light bulb in the entrance was stolen, and somehow everyone couldn't get their hands on it. I went to the door, when suddenly I heard some sounds from the cluttered entrance. I was numb with fear. A terrible hissing was added to the sounds. With great difficulty, afraid to move, I found a doorbell on the wall and pressed the button, but a wild, chilling fear did not let me go. The hissing did not subside and seemed to be very close. I was afraid to even scream, let alone run out into the street. It seemed that if I turned away, it would rush at me. Suddenly the hissing stopped. I saw a light in the door peephole and heard the sound of the lock opening. The door was opened by my mother. Part of the entrance was illuminated by a light bulb in the hallway. When I literally flew into the apartment, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed the outline of an animal the size of a large black cat, but the two ruby eyes were not at all feline. Cats have light-reflected yellow or greenish light, but there were blood-red eyes. Some 20 seconds, when I was waiting for the door to be opened, seemed like an eternity to me. I slammed the door on both locks with a bang for the whole entrance. I couldn't calm down for a long time. I was shaking all over. My teeth were clicking. My face turned pale. No one believed me. They said they saw the cat, but I couldn't sleep well anymore. The fear settled well and for a long time. The worst thing is that no one wanted to believe, and I probably wouldn't have believed a 6-year-old child myself. After a while I calmed down. The nightmares stopped dreaming. It already seemed to me that it seemed spring had come. My family went to shish kebabs outside the city. Of course we took the Lord with us. We left for the whole day, returned late. My father was the first to enter the apartment and immediately stopped dead, dropped the bag and told my mother and me to go outside. For a couple of days we spent the night with my father's colleague. As I was later told, my father, entering the apartment, saw a bloody trail from the bathroom to the kitchen, where a dead cat was lying, all bitten, as if by some dog. Leaving for a picnic, we let the cat out into the street, but as always happens, we forgot to close the window and latch into the bathroom. The cat, out of habit, climbed into the apartment through the window, and the creature through the ventilation. It was there that the bloody trail from the rat's tail smeared with blood led. After the death of the cat, We no longer spent the night in that apartment. But the story quickly spread, and one day an elderly woman came to us, who told us that she once lived in this very entrance on the same stairwell with us, where there was an abandoned apartment. Their family was forced to move out by the death of her infant granddaughter. Everyone worked in their family, the mother was sitting with the child, but it turned out that she had to leave the apartment urgently and leave the child alone for about an hour. When she returned, the child's face was gnawed by rats. The girl died. A week later, my father retired. Submariners have a fairly short service life before retirement, and we flew to another city. The apartment in the old place was sold about 6 months later. More than 15 years have passed since those events. No one wanted to remember the story anymore, until my old friend from the next house came to visit us in the same place. Over a bottle of alcohol, we began to remember our childhood and touched on just that story with a huge rat. Mike, that was my friend's name, told me about the events that took place after our departure. A homeless man was found in that house, who decided to spend the night in one of the abandoned apartments. They informed the police, but they were forbidden to advertise this story. They were told that it was impossible to sow panic among the masses. Then the residents of the nearest houses first began to launch cats into the basement, but only their heads remained. The bodies were completely eaten. Then they scattered rat poison all over the basements, which probably saved them. Nothing terrible happened in the houses anymore. Mike's father worked as a plumber, and about 6 months later they had to fix pipes in the basement of that very house. When they finished, he said that they had not noticed a single living rat, but they found some very large strange mummified rat carcass that had decomposed badly, and it was difficult to understand what it was, and no one really wanted to.